Oh, what a headache. That was a weird dream.
He picked up the page with a shaken look on his face. The words he was reading had read, unclear. His mind shaken at the words he continued to read. They were reciting what was happening. What had happened? His head had a sharp pain. He had a wave of deja vu. These words he read, had he written them? Wrote them? Still writing them? He fished for the answers in his mind, but the bait came up empty. He looked over at the staircase. That was it. The steps closer to the answer. Fade to the intro. Alan Wake 2 has an insane 13-long-year story where, just like in the game, Alan was trapped and had to fight in order to be free. Let's start all the way back at the beginning. It's May of 2010 and Remedy has just released Alan Wake. They had such a blast creating the game, they immediately wanted to start work on a sequel, leading the team to start coming up with some concepts for Alan Wake 2. There was just one problem. For Alan Wake 2 to become a reality, Remedy would need Microsoft's financial help along with their okay to even publish the game, since at the time, Alan Wake's publishing rights were held by Microsoft. Unluckily for Remedy, Microsoft didn't want a second Alan Wake game after the first one wasn't bringing in enough sales for Microsoft to want to take a chance on a sequel. Instead, Microsoft wanted Remedy to work on different projects, but Remedy wasn't done with their writer just yet. You see, they were always refining the concept of Alan Wake 2, and they even made a live-action trailer for the game that was put into Quantum Break, released in 2016. They did this to test the waters for an Alan Wake sequel. This live-action trailer saw two detectives working on a missing persons case. The person they were searching for was Alan Wake. But yet again, Remedy was shut down. Remedy was getting sick and tired that Microsoft was acting like a brick wall, standing in their way of making the sequel they wanted. So in 2019, right before the launch of Control, Remedy reobtained the publishing rights to Alan Wake, finally allowing them to start work on the game. But they were going to need help in order to fully make their vision for the game a reality. So in 2021, Remedy had decided to make a two-game deal with Epic Games. Yes, the Fortnite game, to release two Alan Wake games on their store. The first would be Alan Wake Remastered, the second, Alan Wake 2. Now with some big guns behind them, Remedy could truly start production on Alan Wake 2, and the best part was, Epic was extremely helpful while not too invasive in the development process. Remedy was given a 70 million euro budget for the game, which for my fellow Americans translate to 75 million US dollars. With this, Remedy was able to announce the game at the Game Awards in 2021, with the game truly launching on October 27th, 2023. After the long 13-year battle for Alan Wake 2 to be freed from Cauldron Lake, how did the game fare when put into the light? Alan Wake 2 is one of my favorite games when it comes to its presentation. This game looks not only stunning, but tries new art forms to present the game to you. It was a game that had me questioning just how they could get a game to do these kind of things, and had my graphics card questioning how it was going to play the darn game. So yeah, in order to play this game, I had to actually stream it off of GeForce Now, thanks to a friend allowing me to use their PC. So after making sure my PC wasn't going to explode showing me all these crazy graphics, I was able to sit back and enjoy all the visual and ear candy this game had in store for me. So let me start with the live action cutscenes. When I played this game for the first time, these cutscenes caught me so off guard. I was shocked to see the game characters in real life playing the video game characters. It was a surreal feeling that was hard to shake. The cutscenes, however, worked so well due to the amazing cast being able to not only act in booth, but on camera. Ha! Joke's on you! You might also be surprised to find out that this Alan Wake isn't the voice. You see, Matthew Peretta is the voice of Alan Wake, with Ika Vili being the face of Alan Wake. Ika has been playing Alan all the way back since the original game, and even shows up in a Poets of the Fall video done in collaboration with Remedy. That's not where the trickery ends. Sam Lake, the creator of Alan Wake and Max Payne, plays Alex Casey's face in this game. But the voice for Alex Casey is no other than James Perry McAfee, who originally voiced Max Payne, bringing everything full circle. But while the live action cutscenes look great, the game cutscenes look almost just as real. These cutscenes have me taken back on multiple occasions, especially when they do this weird overlap effect showing two different locations almost existing on top of one another. The settings in this game also look amazing. You have two major settings in the game with multiple smaller locations in between. city. The two big ones are the Bright Falls area, full of trees and forest, and the other is New York City. Both locations feel so big, yet abandoned, almost feeling like a husk of their former self. All while the environment moves in an unsettling way, making you feel like you're being stalked. This is all achieved with Remedy's engine called Northlight Engine. This engine was used for Control and Quantum Break. It would also be a crime if I didn't bring up my new favorite band, Poets of the Fall, reprising their role as the old gods of Asgard. A band who plays a much bigger role in this game than when they did in the previous installment. Along with them comes a batch of brand new songs that all slap. Some might point to Herald of Darkness, but my two go-to are Anger's Remorse and Dark Ocean Summoning. I love this game's direction as it's just a breath of fresh air in the gaming atmosphere. It really sets itself apart from all the other survival horror games floating around. Alan Wake 2 feels like it's trying to really stand out, and it does this on a great scale.
Another one of those pages.
He walked over to the stairs and heard a soft crinkle under the weight of his foot. Even with no real expression, this had made his stomach sink. "It's another one of those pages," he exclaimed. Again, reading the words made him frightened. What is going on? He thought to himself, his fear almost washing away like sand on a beach, displaced and left with a new emotion. The stairs again. By this point, he started to walk up the stairs. Little did anyone truly know, stairs aren't a descent into madness, they're just the point of travel. The madness can be anywhere, and anyone. Cut to the gameplay. Alan Wake 2 is a survival horror third-person shooter. This game is huge, with new and returning gameplay elements from the previous installment. So let's dive into the new, since there's a lot to unpack here. Let's start with this game's biggest addition, the Mind Place. This is your general hub to find anything you need to know about your game. Your main area in your Mind Place will be the case board. As you progress through the game, you will find clues from talking to people and investigating areas around Bright Falls. These clues will then be used to chart your objectives on the case board, allowing the player to feel like a detective slowly unraveling this mystery. But not everyone is willing to tell the truth, so you will need to use another spot in your Mind Place, your profiling table, where you can read the intentions and actions of other characters to help you find more clues. But your main clue to help you with your investigation comes from the words on a page. The manuscript pages are back. First seen in Alan Wake, these pages serve the same purpose as the older counterpart. These pages in some way predict the future, helping you guide your way through Bright Falls and give you warnings of upcoming threats. While your Mind Place is where you progress your game, you will need to move through the world to find resources in order to survive the dangers in your path. This game has so much to find in the world, it's hard to keep track of it all. But let's start with the cult caches. As we will talk about later, there seems to be a cult in Bright Falls, and these people are leaving around caches of supplies that can be unlocked by solving puzzles in the area. Along with the caches, you can also find these supernatural nursery rhymes set up at different locations. Again, just like the caches, these rhymes have you complete a puzzle in order to unlock a charm. These charms are used to give your player a certain boost to their physique, like adding more health, dealing more damage, or taking less damage. You can have up to 3 charms equipped at a time. The last major resource you can find are these Alex Casey lunchboxes. You will know when you're close to these lunchboxes when you see an area that looks like it's been yarn bombed. Inside, you can find a manuscript fragments. These fragments can be used to upgrade your weapons. Speaking of weapons, Alan Wake 2 adds a bunch of new weapons for you to use, and this game gets rid of an annoying feature from the last game, where it basically wipes your inventory in between chapters, meaning you actually get to keep all these cool guns. Alan Wake 2 has your standard pistol and shotgun, but it decided to commit theft and take the crossbow from the Evil Within, just without the cool bolt. But anyone who's played Alan Wake knows that the real combat comes down to your light. Just like in Alan Wake 2 has you use your flashlight to weaken enemies before taking them down with your guns. When you use your flashlight to weaken an enemy, sometimes that enemy can have a weak point that can be revealed. This, when shot, will deal heaps of damage. But there are some new weaponized light sources. Just like the previous game, you have your flare gun, flares, and flashbangs, but Alan Wake 2 has added 2 new light weapons. A compact propane tank that can be thrown and shot, causing an explosion dealing damage to all your surrounding enemies. And then the rocket flare, a fireable flare gun that explodes light on impact. The enemies you'll be fighting with these weapons are the Taken once again, a humanoid shadow monster that can now affect animals in this game, so yeah, that's fun. Yeah, you might take some damage, meaning you're likely going to need to heal. This game has 3 main healing items, each with different uses. The trauma pads will heal you to a certain amount with a consume timer. If you need instant healing, the painkillers will be your best friend. These heal a similar amount to the trauma pads, just instantly. The last med item is the first aid kit. This will always full heal you no matter what health you are at, with the trade-off of being that it takes longer to use. Now, while I've been explaining this game, there is a secret second layer with its own gameplay elements similar to what I have been explaining. You see, when you take control of Alan Wake, you start playing a new area and have a different gameplay style. While playing as Alan Wake, you will have a lamp that can capture light and give light to certain locations, changing their appearance, making for fun environmental puzzles. Alan can change his environments in different ways too, using his mind space called the writer's room. Here he can change the scene in certain settings to have the world around him shift, allowing him to move forward through the dark place. While he travels through the dark place, he is going to need some upgrades of his own, which can be found in the city he roams around. These wheels are called words of power. Finding a certain one will upgrade one of Alan's abilities. These words are like the charms and manuscript fragments combined. Now with the gameplay talked about, it's time I shift focus on a character I have been neglecting to talk about. In Alan Wake 2, you'll be surprised that the main character isn't Alan Wake. Instead, it's Saga Anderson, played by Melanie Lindbergh. But Alan Wake 2's story is oddly fragmented, taking part in 2 different campaigns that can be switched in between either at your choice or when the game chooses to show you the next part of that story. I love Saga as our main character, but I'll talk more about that later. Saga arrives to Bright Falls looking into what seems to be a ritualistic murder, meaning it's cult time, baby. The most recent case would be an old FBI agent last seen 13 years ago. As she investigates more into the case, she finds these weird pages that seem to call back and almost predict the outcome of events. Kinda like some pages a certain writer found 13 years ago. With this, it's up to Saga to uncover the reason for all of these weird connections to this lost novelist, Alan Wake. She questions some witnesses at the local diner to find out more information when she is stopped by a perky waitress who comments on Saga's dead daughter, which confuses our detective since she was just on the phone with her no more than an hour ago. Anyway, she brushes it off and makes her way to the police station to perform an autopsy on the dead FBI agent. After she finds another page in the dead man's chest, the corpse springs to life, alerting her to the horrors that are subsided in this town. Meanwhile, Alan Wake, the writer who went missing 13 years ago, is looking to escape from his dark prison. You're gonna have to put on your sleuthing hat and figure out the much larger, vast plot that you get to play through, since I am definitely not spoiling it here. Even with that synopsis, I gave you what wasn't even a quarter of what you learned throughout your playthrough. Alan Wake 2 might be one of my favorite games of 2024. It has such a unique and fun direction behind it, with a story that has me always guessing and trying to figure out what could be happening, just to have the carpet pulled out from underneath me, making me always question if anything that is happening is truly real. Saga Anderson is one of my favorite characters in media now. She has such a technical thought process behind the supernatural happenings going on in the game. I love watching her not put normal logic in place of a supernatural event, rather trying to figure out and find the rules of the supernatural event and learning how to navigate it. It's kind of like watching a horror movie where the main character is smart instead of dumb or shallow. It feels so rewarding for her to succeed, since it feels like she and I as the player are forging our way through this mystery, while making our setbacks feel so much worse. Just as I would have suspected from this franchise, this game is so well written, and the voice acting has really stepped up. I still want an audiobook from Matthew Peretta. His voice as Alan could keep me in suspense over a children's book. It hits the atmosphere perfectly in this game. You can really tell Remedy had fun and put a lot of work into this game, making it feel so great to play, since you can just feel the love from the whole team here. It's honestly amazing. Alright, enough about my rantings. Should you buy Alan Wake 2? I would actually recommend you play Alan Wake 2 over 1, since there is so much more to explore and you don't need to have played the first game to understand the overall plot of this game. But if you want to understand all the references, then you will have to play the first game. This game's main story is around 20 hours to beat, and that's not with exploring the multiple locations to find all their secrets, meaning you could put some real big hours into this game if you felt like it. I also didn't feel scared while playing this game, so putting it on the Spookometer, it's gonna get a low rating. I feel like this game is more of a mystery thriller rather than a suspenseful horror. So, at the end, I would fully recommend Alan Wake 2 at the price of $60 US. But what did you guys get from this review? Do you want to give it a try, or do you think you'll pass? Let me know in the comments below. After climbing the stairs, he saw the page on the door. The worry he had is now soured to a deep rage. Why mock me, he thought in his head. He grabbed the page and ripped it apart, torn into pieces that now scattered the ground. He went to put his hand on the knob when like a tidal wave of memories flooded his mind. There was someone writing his life, writing his home to become infected, writing for him to be trapped, writing for him to be tortured. It would stop now. He would not be a writer's puppet anymore. The knob had turned to a heavyweight, cold, the handle opened the door.
What the hell? That was a weird dream. Oh, it's just about time to go.